Hello, this is the Broken Controller Show. I'm George, and this is Just the Tips Smite's Guide to the Jungle. Now, we're going to first start out with builds. Now, as a starter, or certain junglers where you want to get to the later game, I would start out with bombas into shoes with 3 to maybe 4 of each pot. Now, most builds for most characters are going to be varying, highly different with each character. So, sometimes most of the builds aren't going to matter. But if you want to go red pot, which is another great start to a lot of characters, especially in the jungle, which is great for early starts, and clear red pot, which I'll show off later in the video. It's basically the same thing except with 2 less mana pots and a little less gold. Now we're going to start with a basic start. Now I'm going to be going with red pot. It's around 20 seconds. At the latest you want to go 17 seconds. And if you couldn't tell, I bought 2 mana pots right after I got it. That way I don't have to go without it, and I can get the lane and have mana pots that can self-sustain through the jungle. Being Bastet, I'm going to have a lot of trouble sustaining without mana, especially since most of her abilities are what she clears with, not her autos. Now, basic leashing, I'm going to tank it just because we're both running red pot. We can do massive amounts of damage to these camps. Now, he's kind of turning back to me. I take it, and then I'm going to start his blue buff, which I kind of forget my speed, so, you know, it makes it a little harder to get there faster. Now, usually you want to leash it out to the outside. We don't get it completely the way we want it, but he was taking a lot of damage that he shouldn't have taken. Now I go straight to left mids. Now, usually the mid wants to come there around the same time or slightly after you get there. But their jungler showed up at the same exact time, so now we're playing a game of footsies with who's going to take it. Now this is where a lot of fights start. I try to burst it down. I use a little, probably too much mana to get it. Go straight back to the mid wave to make sure that you have that pushed up. Get as much as you can from that. You don't want to lose XP and go into a fight with this getting pressed up and losing all this XP. Now, once this is cleared out, we go straight over to red, so again, the right mid camps. This is where a lot of the fights break out, especially early games. It's the good thing about having a Poseidon and a Bastet is we have a lot of damage, so we can fight these guys. But they're also a Hebo and a Thor, so we both have this ton of damage. Now, knowing that we're probably not going to get it, I instead decided to take the mid camp, the mid wave, so I can get closer to 5. And they already did it, and I was going to come in from behind, but they already took it in front of us. Now, I'm going to stay for one more wave, try and get as much experience as I can, leeching as much off this Poseidon as I can, and usually you and your mid will go and take the back camps together, theirs or yours. My mid's not really cooperating, so I end up taking out my right back camps by myself. Now, these respawn fairly fast, so you don't have to worry too much about like someone else taking them or stuff like that. But these are basically where you get a lot of your experience from, other than the mid camps, which, while not as important as they used to be, are still fairly important. So I do my right back camps, and I immediately start coming back towards the mid wave, so I can get as much experience from that too. Trying to get a little bit of poke off on this Hebo, which might not have been worth it, but hey, it pushes him off, so when we come back, he's not going to be able to aggress on my Poseidon. Now I go back to my left my left back camps, so I can get those too. Pretty basic stuff after that, is just getting that. Now I'm going to hit 5 soon, and as a Bastet, or even as that Thor, well, I almost hit 5, so I go back to the mid wave, and I know I'm going to hit 5 on this wave. Now, like Thor and Bastet, both, when they hit 5, hit pretty much critical mass. I just hit 5, ult, immediately, and the problem is he hit 5 too. Poseidon, because he wasn't rotating in the back camps, didn't hit 5, and I paid for it. Now what everyone wants to see is invasions. Now I'm playing Santos, and I'm getting another Bellona. We have one of the stronger early games in level 1 early games that you can get. We're going to stand around this Brock, wait until exactly 10 seconds comes in. Once it's 10 minutes into the game, the camps will spawn, so that means they'll usually use their ability on top of it. That means we're going after this poor little bastard. Bam, 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 bam. Done. Try and steal that that speed. Instead of going for the double kill, it's not worth it. And our Bellona stole the speed, which is awesome. Now we're going to go straight over to their buffs. You want to get as much farm as you can, even though we got an invade. Invasions aren't always just about getting kills. It's great to get first blood. It's great to do a lot of damage. You don't want to sit there and just waste your time for trying to get a kill when you probably aren't going to get it. Now, usually you want to go straight over to the mid camps like I showed in the previous part of this video, but since we did that invade, I want to get a little bit of farm, and I know the Bastet's not going to be there until she has to go rush there, and she's going to be level 1. So now I can go to mid camps without any contention against a level 1 Bastet. It's fairly easy, and there's no one to fight against us. Now for basic jungling. Now, the first thing you want to take care of is usually the mid camps. Now, our mid is still not showing up to these mid camps for God knows what reasons, because he doesn't want to use teamwork and get all this experience. So we get one of them stolen from Hebo. We're half health, but we need to drop our buffs, which is super important. Dropping buffs and getting all the XP for all the buffs you can. Go over to this blue. Our Bellona doesn't rotate to the blue buff because she doesn't want any of the experience. But now we're going to show off one of the cool things about Bumba's Mask. With each minion you kill in the jungle, it heals you up. Now while not much, it's still pretty major when you're pretty low like I was. Now, we still got to do our camps. So I call Bellona over to help me do it to speed. Now, the other thing that's cool about Bumba's Mask is it allows you to share experience and gold. You get it along with like most sharing concepts, like instead of like a Watcher's Gift, you just get 100% of the gold, I believe, while the other person gets the shared part of it, which means you're getting all the gold on everything they get. You want to share every camp, but that also drops you down some of your experience because you're not getting 100% of the experience. But now Poseidon's rotating to reds. Now, dropping your buffs and clearing out your jungle is what most good farming junglers want to do. You want to make sure your jungle camps are always cleared out. And because now all of ours are cleared out, I usually don't want to go in this, but this is basically a counter gank. This Thor came in pretty early, and we just want to make sure we can throw out and help these guys out. Now we go back in. Now, basic team fighting for most junglers is going in and getting out as fast as you can. This is basically the same fight because he didn't leave, and I'm not gonna just let them stay in my lane, holding our hunter and our support down. So it's time to keep fighting. Now my controller dies, and they don't kill me, so good luck. But now we get to jump back in there and do some damage. Make sure we get that double kill. Always jumping in and out of these fights. Now, for farming and counter jungling, one of the other things you would like to do is you want to get into these lanes whenever your jungle camps are down. You want to get as much experience from the waves too. Now, if you can, you usually want to take out, I don't know, usually when someone leaves, they're not going to get that experience. You want to take it as much as you can. But if you can't, you want to go to each lane, steal a little bit of farm. You don't want to hover over everybody and start stealing everything they have. It's something that really kind of sucks sometimes for a jungler, and it kind of holds you back. I have the same problem. Now, because we got all this experience, we can keep going in and fighting some of these guys. I've been sitting on this Shibalanke because he's been beating on my duo lane this entire time, and it's time to just sit on him. But now that we caught, because of some plays like that, we caught this Thor out in the middle of the jungle. He doesn't have ult apparently because he's not using it, and Bellona rotated over, which is a great play by her. We get him, so it's immediately going straight to his buffs because we know he doesn't have his speed, and we just did it. Now, wards are very important, especially when you're counter jungling. Now, I know if anyone's coming behind us. We don't see Hebo on the map, so he could be anywhere. He could probably be coming back from base, which he is now that you can see him. We know that the Raw's not coming in as well. Because of that ward, we know that they're not going to be behind us, and because of our how well we just did that, and now that we know that he doesn't have a speed, we can do ganks because of it. And that's why we get that kill on the Raw. Now, also because of that, we're able to sit there and set up this Hebo. We know that these guys don't have the speed, they're losing experience, the store's falling behind, and we get to just sit here and keep diving on some of these guys, getting some of these guys ahead. And so we've been sitting on this our duo lane for a while, but now we can just dive on these guys and keep taking buffs. And because of I'm still warding their jungle, he has no idea when his camps are coming up. Even if he's good, like a really good jungler usually will know, but after you take it twice, he has no clue. And now he's level 9, but maybe 10. Yeah, 10. He's trying to go back in. We want to go back in, take as many of these people out as we can. Why Raw's over here? Who knows? Now, I'm using these ults fairly loosely, and because most of my team got killed in that fight, I was able to pick off a lot of these guys. Because Thor got a double kill, and I got the double kill on the back end, but now I got the triple kill from killing him. Now, team fighting. Team fighting is fairly different for a lot of different junglers, but for most junglers, we're going to go with the basics, and it's going to be assassins. You want to go in on DPS for pretty much their entire backline. You want to get in and get out. What most assassins do that puts them behind is they don't get out of the fight. You want to put your damage out and keep getting in. Basted's very good at teaching very new players how to use these concepts of getting in and out because of her jump. Where you get to jump into the fight and pull back as fast as you can. It's a lot of concepts that you don't get to learn right away. But now but with Bastet, you get to just keep going in, backing out of the fights, getting back in. I use my beads there so I can get my cooldowns again and get another kill on this Raw. We basically took out their entire team. Now we get to take a free fire giant. Now because I'm a Bastet and I have cats, we can do a shit ton of DPS to this guy. And it can even tank the fire giant for us. Like I said, you get with these team fights, with picking off these carries, which are they have at least 2 hyper carries and great disengage because of Raw. It's you want to usually take out the Raw and healers in these fights, which is fairly hard sometimes. But look, we're still going back in. We threw a bunch of damage out onto these carries. Their Shin Ken was out of position. It was not there to protect them. He's trying to start a fight. Because of the damage we did in that fight, we did it again. Keep putting damage out on them. Getting in and getting out. Hitting in, hitting them again. Doing as much as we can. That's what that Thor's trying to do even. But he can't do it as well as me because I'm so far ahead and I'm just destroying. Even at this Phoenix fight, even with Fire Giant, we just get to keep diving, keep pushing, keep bullying them. And keep harassing their backline. That's how you want to properly fight as most assassin junglers. There are very few characters that don't want to do that with, but this is the basics of jungling, especially assassins. You want to just constantly keep doing damage. I'm always walking out of the fight after putting my damage out and then leaving. That's the key thing to playing assassins, and we get an easy win this game. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like these videos. And soon after we do the support video, we will be doing character requests and characters I'm fairly good at. Probably starting with characters I'm fairly good at, and then teaching requests. Thank you for watching the video, and have fun jungling.